Greetings, my friends. I want to tell a story to anyone that's doing manual labor or maybe cleaning up around the house and wishes to occupy their head with something. So, without further interruption, let me tell you about the Sea of Serenity, Chapter 1. So, as I was saying, these people weren't thinking about beauty. They thought about protection and commuting on foot and sewage. And yet our brains just like things that look natural and organic and intricate. I guess I agree. But then some people do like those clean, simple buildings, right? That's true. And here I'm not sure anymore. Maybe you can just learn taste and different people do it differently. Maybe so. Samantha Jasper, an astronaut engineer, was sharing her thoughts with a colleague, Douglas Layton, about a small picture of Füssen, Germany, that was mounted to a wall of an otherwise very empty room. The picture featured cozy medieval houses on narrow streets, situated next to the inner walls of a castle that sat a bit higher compared to the other houses. Hey, Douglas interrupted the brief silence to continue a train of thought that was started by Samantha. Do you think we'll build architecture on the moon? Not for a long time, that's for certain, she replied. Have the cavemen built architecture when they were hiding in their caves? The fact is, we are cavemen here. We hide underground from radiation and who knows what else. It's going to be a while until we go outside. The two people speaking were situated in a large steel box covered by 2 meters of lunar regolith that shielded the habitat from cosmic radiation. Around the pile of lunar dirt sat a spacecraft for the return trip, a radioisotope thermoelectric generator with wide heat radiators, and several different robots. One of those was a large automatic refinery, while others were rovers, an excavator, a truck, and some others. Several of the pioneers, like Samantha and Douglas, landed on the moon to oversee construction of humanity's first colony on a different celestial body. A robust economic plan was developed by Baron Belmont Group to use iron found in lunar regolith to build accommodations for very wealthy tourists under the surface of the moon to protect patrons from cosmic radiation. But as soon as the plan went into action and everyone realized it was serious, a deal was put forward to build another habitation module for the United States government to house researchers. It was unthinkable, of course, that the first permanent structure on the moon could have been a commercial project rather than that of the state. And Baron Belmont modified the plans to build this research station first and secure big money from the government for their later commercial endeavors. And now, first lunar builders worked in shifts, controlling automatic systems outside. First, a trench has to be excavated. Some of the lunar soil goes into a refinery that melts it with concentrated solar energy. Minerals are then extracted from the melted regolith. The steel is formed into plates and beams, and a large vacuum-tied structure is assembled. Here, manual labor is necessary to weld the joints of steel components, especially because these welds have to be perfect to perform their functions. Currently, 3 astronauts are outside performing the assembly of the structure, while 4 more work inside controlling the autonomous robotic vehicles. And 7 others, including Douglas and Samantha, the taskmaster of their shift, are resting. The two people discussing the cultural implications of a small German town on the wall have already slept in their bunk beds and are now ready to perform their duties. Before which, they have to visit the gym. Otherwise, weak lunar gravity will take a toll on their muscles. 8:33. It's time to go, Samantha commanded. By the way, do you think we will always use UTC here? Seems illogical, considering the fact that The sun is up for 2 weeks, and then there's 2 weeks of darkness. Douglas wondered in response. Maybe, she returned. Let's go now. Chapter 2. After their morning exercise, Samantha's brigade entered the control room to receive a briefing. In there, the first shift greeted them. Tampa. Serenity Baron is initiating the shift change. First shift taskmaster Benjamin Courtney relayed to a report back to Earth. But for some reason, no response followed. Tampa, do you copy? Benjamin followed up after a minute of confusion. This well-rehearsed procedure has never failed them, the astronauts, before. But silence responded him. Something's wrong, he returned to his colleague. Do you think we could have damaged the antenna? Wait, maybe the repeater is malfunctioning. Samantha began to analyze their situation. I'll troubleshoot any software problems, Benjamin said, and then turned to the microphone. Guys, can you hear me? Loud and clear, answered one of the crew members outside. Okay, maybe we'll have to send someone to check the equipment. Oh God! A voice full of horror echoed through the control module and interrupted everyone's thoughts. What's wrong? Benjamin immediately inquired urgently. The Earth. A worker was welding a steel plate to the structural ridge. The metal was clean and shiny because of the lack of oxygen in the atmosphere to corrode it. The astronaut finished the seam and looked up to let his eyes rest without the dark protective mask. Above him, an acute and profound nothingness filled the cosmos. Other stars were invisible because of the sun's forceful light. It was showing close to the horizon and illuminated the dead gray surface as well as the blue marble suspended above. The man looked closer at his celestial home that was so far from him. He thought he could recognize the coastline of East Asia, but something was very off. All of the oceans and seas were pristine blue as expected, but all of the continents were the same dead gray as here. Nothing but barren lifeless rocks and sand looked back at him from his home. That was when he exclaimed into the microphone, "Oh God!" "That's impossible," Samantha said, when everyone heard the welder's description. "Do you think that there was an extinction event at home?" "It's all barren," Tim Head outside said in a weak and broken voice, while looking at the blue sphere through his binoculars. "I can't see any green, unlike yesterday or the day before." At that moment, everyone outside was staring back at the Earth. One of the workers then broke down and started sobbing. "There's ought to be some kind of mistake," Courtney continued. "I can't think of any reason why that would occur." "But we have no communication with the Earth," Jasper noticed. "We might have a problem with our equipment, right?" Benjamin speculated. "Maybe we should just use our spacecraft to go back home. We'll say we had an emergency." "No, we don't know what happened there. That's very irresponsible. Lunar regolith has 30% oxygen by mass. We can refine it and use it to breathe. And we have water recycling and food for months," Samantha argued. "And so, what will we do when that ends?" "We have to go home, Samantha. We don't know what we will see there, but it's definitely a lot more livable there," Benjamin replied. Chapter 3. No problems with any communications equipment was found for the past several days, and we haven't received any signals from Earth, apart from automatic transmissions from satellites. Today, Benjamin Courtney assembled his first shift and packed the spacecraft. "You definitely won't go with us, will you?" he asked Samantha for the last time. "We won't," she replied. "We will send help as soon as possible," he promised. "I hope so." The second shift watched as the main engines started up, blowing lunar dust in all directions, and the large vessel gently rose above the surface and descended into the void, with nothing but low, quiet rumbling, felt by the astronauts who stayed. A crew of 7 sat in an illuminated room, consumed by their thoughts. There was nothing to do, because they had to conserve resources. Before them was a picture of the small town of Fusen. It's so strange, Douglas started, turning to Samantha. I again think that those were just clouds, although we looked there 1,000 times, right? But we did look there 1,000 times, Samantha replied. I know. That's the point. Our brains want to find solutions, even though we've tried them already. What are we going to do now, Samantha? One of the crew members asked her. Can't we do something instead of just sitting here waiting to die? And what can we do? She replied. We should have just went home with the first shift, right? Another one started. It would be better if we just died at home. Yeah, you left us here, another one still said. Guys, calm down, Douglas came to Samantha's defense. She did what best she could for us. We know too little. What? How's that exactly? One of crew members rose and started moving towards Samantha. To strand us here alone? And what would you suggest? Douglas also stood up and rushed before Samantha. I suggest we punish the ones who sealed our fate, the crew member said and punched Douglas in the face. He fell. Samantha immediately jumped to her feet and bolted towards the control room before anyone could get a hold of her. There she barricaded herself from the angry mob who were trying to break in. What should I do? She thought. Oh, of course! She rushed to the control panel. Depressurizer lock, depressurize vehicle depot. Oh, here. Depressurize habitation module. She pressed the lever. Warning, manual override required. The automatic voice echoed through the chamber. Override. Samantha scoured through levers and buttons. Here it is! And she pressed the big red button labeled as manual override. Outside the control room, the vents started hissing, and soon the whole module was filled with clouds of moisture. The 5 crew members who were trying to enter the Samantha stronghold found it difficult to breathe. Their breathing was almost impossible, and their skin started to swell from outgassing, and at last the 5 men were relieved of their torture by death. Chapter 4. Samantha. Yes? How did you end up here? I don't know. Everything was so surreal. What happened? I can't tell you yet, my dear. But I promise you that you will know. I'm probably dreaming, right? How would a dream differ from where you are? I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm alone, scared and helpless. Oh, that's nothing to worry about. I have been alone for so long. It's not scary. You're getting used to it. Who are you? This you already know, my dear. Oh, yes, I know. Thank you for being with me. You don't have to worry about being alone. Join me, so we can be together. Do you want it? Yes. Do you think I should? What else would you do, my dear? Maybe you're right. Samantha was standing before the door of the airlock, feeling the cold metal separating her from the outside. Her hand slowly pressed upon a lever until the door was free and gently swung out into the abyss. Sun's white piercing rays greeted her. The ground was gleaming with energy, reflecting the sun's light into her. She felt the excitement and the joy of the surface she was stepping onto. She felt the air leaving her lungs. She didn't need that anymore. Now she joined her, together as one, for eternity. Mr. Courtney, sir, we're receiving a transmission, said the pilot in the spacecraft headed back to Earth. From the Earth? Benjamin asked hurriedly. Let me... No, from the moon. Damn, that must be the base. Is it coming from the Serenity Baron? Wait, no, it's coming from the entire moon, from everywhere. What?